You're listening to Speaking of Voice Acting. I'm Chris Takahashi, and with me is a very special guest, the lead actor for Fallout 3 mod Dot's Diner, as well as the lead character in the Fallout 4 quest. You've got Mail, and also just an amazing and talented person in general, Marion Toro.
Hey, and thank you. Um,
And with her also is another special guest, a musical artist and someone who's collaborating with her on her latest game, Emergency Monster Team, and that is Chibuzo.
Hi, everyone. How are you?
So we're going to talk about the game in a bit, but before we get to that, first I want to talk about Marion and how you got into voice acting.
um, really what pushed me to get into it was when I would audition for theater. I had a sense that the voice that they wanted wasn't coming out of the body they wanted. So it's like, hi, I know you're going for this particular role that's not my race, but what about the acting part? Did I act the part well? And so I just really just felt like I wasn't getting anywhere in regards to that. Like, why don't you have an open casting? What's that? So, for a little bit there, I was trying to do something in college, and I had one professor tell me, he literally told me that I should try for a different career field because voice acting is competitive.
That does not sound like very good advice.
No, I'm like, dude, I'm paying you. So that's not cool.
Wow.
And it was about 3 years later, let's just say in 2010, I finally got out of my rut of saying, you know what, I want to do more in life. And I just happened to look for a voiceover coach, and 3 months I learned how to at least do some basics, like, what's DB, like what the hell is that? And just simple of understanding like slating and how to record, how to clean up. And God knows I was dealing with some archaic systems back then. Cool Edit Pro too, if anyone ever knew what that was. And pretty much it was
it's not cool.
Not, but Adobe Audition is way better.
To be fair, they probably wouldn't have got many downloads if they went with not cool edit too.
Oh, sorry. Yeah,
No,
good joke. But yeah, so I mean, it's been a really long journey from there. For a minute, I just didn't have the equipment, and I am so technologically like not up on connecting things. So
well, that's interesting because you were on the other side in our Fallout 4 quest. You got mail. You had to teach somebody. You basically invented email. That's what I tell people.
Right?
But you're actually not technologically inclined. See, this is a shock. This is how good an actor you are. Completely had me fooled.
Thank you. Because I was like, we just got to hook those up to the terminals. And I'm like, yeah, sure. What the hell is that? So I'm assuming it's kind of like, we just need like a hub to get on the internet.
Yeah.
But what's an internet? Yeah, I gotcha. But anywho, I mean, like I said, just kind of scroll forward. I'm actually sitting in a sound booth, which is totally awesome.
Nice.
And I have to thank my wonderful husband for just getting me literally set up.
Awesome. Kudos to him.
Yes. So I'm here now. I recently upgraded my studio, so I now have a microphone, which is a Shure S7MB microphone, the 2i2 Focusrite, and a cloud lifter. And that's literally all I'm using. And I just put up the sound foam last night out of pure.
Yeah.
I was bored. So just like to like reinforce everything. So yeah, this is great. I got the fan going on in the back. Usually the husband's playing, loud MMORPG, and I can still record. And this is awesome. But yeah, definitely just getting into a lot of Facebook groups for voice acting. I'm constantly searching different voice acting hubs for auditions. and casting calls. So one of my hashtags I like to use is stay hustling because you
Nice.
kind of have to do that in
Oh,
this
you gotta
field.
keep grinding, yeah.
Really do. So right now I am working on a couple of long-term projects, and
Hmm.
one of them is for a children's learning corporation called ABC Kid.
Hmm.
And I play a rambunctious little cat girl.
Oh,
And
nice.
yes, her name is Mimi Tortellini. And
Hmm.
alongside her dog friend, Prada Enchilada, who is part of the adventures of Prada Enchilada, we go on these wild, crazy adventures and we teach children about reading and science and math and colors, all of this. And our main demographic is between the ages of 3 and 7. So we're working on rebranding, making the characters younger. So instead of Mimi Tortellini sounding like this, Mimi Tortellini is going to sound like this. Mimi
Oh,
Tortellini.
wow.
And we're going to go to the grocery store and bake a cake.
It's like, we need to go higher.
Go higher.
No. I was just imagining that's what the director was saying. He's like, we need to go higher.
No, I think any higher I probably can't breathe.
Raise the pitch.
No.
We need to be breaking glass here.
No. But there is singing, which is hilarious because I really don't sing. But as a character, I can do singing in character, which no, I'm not performing. But that's one of the projects. But yeah, let's just talk about the one that I really like. Obviously, the emergency monster team, and that just goes into a whole other range. But yeah, this is what I do as often as I can. It's pretty much my part-time job.
We definitely want to talk about that. I want to save that kind of for last.
Yes.
Before we get to that, can you talk about sort of like your experience? You said you started in theater and then you had to shift to voice acting. Like, how is that? Like, what's the difference mostly in theater acting versus like voice acting? Besides going higher pitch.
Oh, God. So no. In theater, it's a lot of movement. You have to not just use your voice. You have to move. You have to look. You're really literally embodying the character. And you're taking words and you're putting everything you do into action, like the flick of the wrist, the how you look, the roll of an eye, how you wear your hair, how you enter the room, how you exit. The execution and everything you do can be seen. And one thing in theater you cannot redo. Every time you go out on stage and there's that audience, you don't get to pause or rewind and do the scene. Once you do it, that's it. It's there. Why I don't sing in public.
There's no retakes. There's like a lot of pressure, and
It
is what you're saying.
it is a lot of pressure, but that is the adrenaline. It's the excitement, and it really gets you. Or one specific I can remember, and thank goodness this was an open casting call for this. It was Arthur Miller's Incident at Vici. And I'm not too sure you're familiar with it, but it does happen.
No, I'm not. I am a total like noob when it comes to theater. I'm a Philistine, more or less.
Okay.
I don't know anything.
Okay. But it did have to deal with World War II and when the Nazis were entering into Vienna, and it was just very scary. So I played a princess what the character was a prince. William von Berg, but I played Wilhelmina von Berg. And anywho, there's this scene where a gun gets shot. Like there's a bullet gets shot off or whatever, and I have to scream. And I hate loud noises. My bestie Chibuzo knows I do not like loud noises. I will scream on call.
Chibuzo should just scream randomly just to like
I should, right? I was tempted, but
hey, she's amazing, by the way. I would know. I've seen her in person. And it was just like, it's just awesome to have it automatic. And I did save a scene. Someone totally messed up on their line. And so I went ahead and did my line that I was going to say after him. And he then did the line he was supposed to. And I repeated the line. However, I said, but again. And yeah, the director totally gave me kudos for
Nice.
that.
Improv.
So, but with voice acting, you really, oh my God, the repetition. It's not even just the repetition. You want to make sure you're doing it different each time, as best as possible. Like how, you're still embodying the character, but no one can see you. So they don't care what you look like. They care about that voice, which I'm also hoping that's what they care about, because sometimes I don't like putting my profile picture, just so they.
Because like there's certain people, those theater people again. No. Whereas with me, I was like, oh yes, another person of color, yes.
And I'm like, where are we? Seriously, because as much as I want to like gripe about it on Twitter, I hold myself back because I don't want to be seen as a what's the word I'm looking for?
The social justice people.
No, not even that. It's just like, she seems like she might be trouble. I do speak about it in my own way. I like to post.
No, we need you to talk. Yeah. Get that loudspeaker and just no, because honestly, it helps because even though I'm a minority, I'm a straight male, so then it helps when I have other women like tell me about this and that and sort of educate me so that I don't have these blind spots. And so it's really important for like people to just get on their soapbox and just scream about this kind of stuff,
Okay, then fine.
So definitely scream.
All right, so my issue. Oh, sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, go ahead. No, but you played going back to like video game acting. You played Dot in Dot's Diner, and I thought, I mean, this was like how we met more or less. You auditioned for it, and I really loved the audition. So it wasn't just because you're a person of color, even though that's a plus for me. It's just because you're just an amazing actor, and you were able to convey like so many different emotions, just going from like charming to vulnerable, and then even like demonstrating sass. And at the same time, like having to do all that and keep this dark secret, I thought was really amazing. So
yeah, that was crazy because I actually went through when it got to the crazy part. I was sitting there and I was like, should I, no. Just, like the type of thing, like really build myself up to it. And I'm like, this is like, you're not going to tell me what to do in my diner, type of thing. And I really wanted to get in there because I'm like, oh, she's losing it. Like, and I'm realizing it at the same time as I'm reading it, like, there's something wrong with her. What did you do? And I really don't want to say too much because I want people to actually either play it or watch it. And I think it works as an awesome movie, by the way. So,
thank you.
Because I'm sitting there like, oh, it's a horror movie. Like, what's going to happen? Like, is the phone ringing? Like, you didn't hear no goddamn phone. Like, and I just thought that was so cool. But yeah, I'm just happy at the fact you let me know I did something nobody else did. I actually read the first line exactly how you wanted it to sound. So that really, really made me feel better. Like, yes, I did it. Because you don't know what, with casting call, yes, you can listen to the auditions. However, I mean, I'll admit I did it afterwards. Like, I'm like, what's everybody sounding like? And I'm like, I think I did. I'm hoping I did okay. Like, that sounds flat. Like, not me, but it was like, so, and then I
other person.
But I love doing it because I finally had, I mean, not even had, but I had the chance to, whatever, get my Southern accent in there. And you don't hear it right now, but because I'm just hyped. When I get high pitched. But when I'm more comfortable, then you hear the Southern and it's just like, hi, welcome to Dot's Diner. How can I help you? Like,
that's amazing. You can just jump right into that.
Because it's natural for me. There's certain things I don't mind doing. I can do the Southern, I can do country. And but there's a particular client, he likes ratchet excessive black woman voices from me. And I get irked with that, but I'm like, fine. So I'm trying to move away from that. It's like, no, I don't want to do those anymore. Like, I really want to just be not a stereotypical black woman, but fine. I said, if he needs somebody just to go off and he usually comes to me. I'm gonna leave his name private though for clients. But yeah, it's been really awesome. But in regards to the voice acting for people of color, um, so yeah, visual novels. What's up with
Oh,
that?
so are we going to talk about it? Let's talk about it. Emergency Monster Team. So this is a visual novel. I believe you said it was made by you and your husband.
Yes.
Is that correct? And I have played it. It is amazing. It really sucks you in, and it has elements of horror and mystery, and it's in a visual novel format. But it also stars people of color. And so for people who aren't aware, talk about it a little bit. How did the whole thing come about, more or less?
Well, to be honest with you, my husband is a phenomenal artist. And I'm not just saying that because I'm his wife. I love watching him create. He'll get a blank piece of paper, get his pencil, and I swear to goodness, if I blink or if I look away for too long, it's forming right in front of you.
Right.
And he clearly noticed my frustration with not getting hired on visual novels. And it's, yeah. So he pretty much he just told me, he was like, look, I'm sick and tired of this. Doesn't make any sense. And you're going to be in the visual novel. So I'm making this game.
Awesome. And that's part of the problem in the voiceover community, is that without the roles, without the characters of color, it's like harder to find casting directors who are willing to cast you. And it starts with just creators making these characters.
Yes.
And it's great that you and your husband are just doing that initial step.
And so I was just like, okay. I mean, it wasn't that I didn't believe him. It was really sweet. I'm like, oh, okay. But as we're going through this, we're like, yo, okay, we're going to do this. And the best part about it was he was like, all of these characters, for the most part. I mean, we'll have some characters for non-people of color. Very, very little. But this is going to be for everybody who just is not getting their voice out. And so I'm like, this is awesome. So I have a huge, I don't want to sound like dumpster fire, circle of friends in regards to voice acting. And we just picked up another voice actress to play Apex. And if anyone who has played the game, you'll know who she is. So you're going to have to play it.
And while social justice and progress is probably the most important thing, even if we sort of ignore all that, it's just a really engaging story regardless. So without getting too spoilery, there's a mystery at the beginning, and there's characters that are supernatural, and all of it together sort of captures your imagination in a really profound way, I think.
And there is more to it, actually. So that I'm keeping.
But play the demo. Where can you download the demo? Is just mariontoro.com?
No, you don't have to go there, but you could. Come on.
Oh. Yeah,
get it out.
And stop by other few places. Click on other few things.
Of course, it's on Itch.io, actually.
Okay.
So
we'll have the links in the description.
Of course.
You can send me the links.
Yes, I will.
But yeah, it's a mystery that sucks you in. It's a world that sucks you in. And it has interesting characters, great art. I just want to see more, just from playing that little bit of the demo. It also has music. And Chibuzo, you can talk about that. Talk about basically what the soundtrack is going to be, if it's going to be R&B, if it's going to be a different type, and how that is going to fit with the game itself and the tone of the game.
Well, I haven't discussed in full detail with Marion or her husband in regards of the direction of the music, but the song that is the intro and outro was a song that I've written a couple of years ago, and finalized it about 2 years ago, but I didn't do much with it. I just had it there, and it was something for people to listen to.
Okay, so it wasn't made specifically for the game. It was paired
no,
later. But it does fit, though. It does fit.
Yes, that's exactly why I was excited, because, Marion and her husband approached me, and they said the sound, the background, the instrumentals, the melody just fits right into the song, into the game. And I said, oh, really? Okay. And, it's funny because when someone paints a picture, you don't really see it until it's actually done. So then when they actually did it and sent it to me, I was like, wow. Oh my God, this really works. I was playing it over and over and over again just to hear it. I was like, hey, in my living room just dancing. And I'm like, wow, this is really good. So then they proposed the idea of me continuing to work with them in respect to the soundtrack and adding more elements and creating more music. So I'm very excited for this project, and I look forward to more. Not necessarily R&B. It could add different elements. But as I said, I want to discuss with them more their vision and where they're trying to go. Because, music plays into art and it paints a whole, a whole picture, so I just wanted to get the picture of where they're trying to go. And then from there, I can work with them,
It got me hyped up. I was ready to go.
Really?
Just get me into that world.
I'm glad to hear. It's great motivation, so.
Yeah, because I think like music, it's sort of responsible for like generating that emotion, or. Go ahead.
It is. No, I'm agreeing with you. Sorry.
No, it's like you feel something already, but then if the music is there to like sort of back that up, it sort of swells, and I think that's really important. So I like the fact that, I mean, not only are you working with the creators and creating a soundtrack that sort of fits like the vibe you want to create for this game, but just like having that experience and just being able to have a musical background where just how to like hit those beats, hit those emotional beats just through song is like a skill that like to me is just magic. So you're basically,
I agree.
You basically belong in Hogwarts pretty much. So
wow, that is a huge compliment. Thank you very much.
I don't know which hat they're gonna give you, but you belong there.
I think I'm a little bit of Gryffindor with like a slice of what is a slice of Slytherin, because I have a bad but for the most part my heart is very genuine and gold, so I would say I'm a good
for the most part.
Yeah, for the most
just
part.
a little bit of a bad girl in there.
Just a little bit of Slytherin, just a sprinkle.
Yeah. That's the part that causes you to scream at Marion at random times and just cause her to freak out.
Yes, exactly.
It's that Slytherin side. It's like, sorry about that. That was just a Slytherin in me. I hope we can get through this.
Oh boy, I can see this happening next time. Like she comes up, it's like, no.
It's a grinding, the gears are turning, man. Yes, I can't wait. But what you did say is that it's very important to me with music. Growing up, it's been very hard to convey emotion. So through music has been the way that I've been able to articulate how I feel, or the emotions that I'm going through at the moment. So it's very imperative to me, and it's very important that my music conveys that. So hence why I said I do have to, in the future, we'll talk to Marion and her husband in regards to what emotion they want to evoke. Like, what do they want their game to say, or how do they want to reach to other people and bring them in? And from there, then I can be able to create music that aligns with that.
Sounds awesome. I can't wait. So how big, this might be more of a question for your husband, but how big is sort of the anime style kind of influence, the visual novel influence? Like, have you played a lot of visual novels in the past?
As far as visual novels, I've actually never played one.
Oh, okay.
Well, I mean, if I'm testing it, yeah. And this is
it's like the email thing all over again.
It is. Damn it. So,
got me completely fooled.
So but as far as my husband's style of drawing, he does have that anime-esque style, but he wants to make it his own, so that when you look at it, you already know, hey, that's saying his name, Victor Toro, or Shadoboxxer. That's his
handle.
Yeah, I was like, I know how to type it. Like, hey, you've typed it so many times. It's a handle, and and that's on Twitter and Instagram, obviously. And he does have his one man riot sorry, the onemanriot.com. I don't know if he's still keeping that up, but in regards to, yeah, just his own style, he always feels like he has to make it more. And I told him, I was like, as long as you remain consistent, it helps. But the main character, well, one of the main, she'll be a main character, and I do voice her, and that's Nadell.
Mm-hmm.
Nadell Pierce. And when you look at my Twitter account, you'll notice that my profile picture is, you know, a Black woman with kind of I don't want to, I don't want to say fluffy, but I mean it is kind of big hair, like a Black woman, big hair. You know, she's wearing you know, an eye patch, and she's got like this prosthetic arm that's glowing, and she went through so many changes. So as you played the demo, you'll realize her hair is something
Yeah,
different.
her hair is different. It was more of like a Goku style in the demo. And
Yeah. So he what he did was he bought a ton of black hairstyle, but like, you know, modern, but you know, trying to see what, like, what's the hairstyles nowadays, like for natural hair. And he's looking at me, and I'm like, honey, I'm processed. And I'm okay with that. And so, but I told him, I was like, well, this particular style will look better. And I said, if you want to go for more natural, I said, it depends. Do you want to make it look kinky? Do you want to have it kind of, you know, kind of curly? Is it, you know, just like the particular styles and colors?
Right.
And he must have changed that hair about 4 or 5 different times. So what it is in my profile picture is what it will be in the video game. So there is actually a ton that he already redid. We just haven't put that up yet. But when we finally get the full game out, we'll be doing it by chapters. At least I can say that. So that's why the demo is just chapter 0. It's just putting it out there like, hey, we're setting the premise for you to get into that world of mystery. And you are like, whoa, what's going to happen next? You know, who are these people? And even more, who is this guy?
Yes, that's what I want to know.
Yeah, I ain't
Giving
telling
me
you.
that side eye. You. I'm going to get you.
Well, the character, the main character, the guy or whomever, can be you. You can be this character, you know, and as this person's going on this journey, you're going on this journey with the patient, you know. So I say it like this: whatever he's going through, or he or she, however you want to put this, you're I'm sure you're feeling the same way. Like as you're playing the game, you're like, oh my God, what's happening? And I will say this, a ton of notes from me and a bunch of his friends, my husband's friends, we said, hey, do more with the blood.
Oh, wow.
So when I say that, the hands were red at first. They were just red. And I'm like, why isn't it dripping?
Oh.
And he was like, huh? And I was like, it should be dripping. And he was like, nah. I was like, And some of his friends played it, and they were like, hey, yeah, we loved it. But why are the hands just red? Where's the drip? And I'm like, yes, put it in there. Man, it looks nasty. I mean, it does look, it just looks, I mean, it's wrong in the sense of like, oh my God, what's happening? So that I can at least say, because I know that's like one of the pictures that we have. So anyone listening to this, yes, figure it out. What's going on? Why are there blood on his hands? But aside from that, this is a great journey. It's fun. I love it. He is working on backgrounds for all these different scenes, and a slew of characters. All I can really say is, if you want to see who's going to be in the game, you know, visit his Instagram. He's constantly posting. I don't really want to say too much.
We'll put that in the description as well. One of the things I want to go back to is you're talking about the hair, and I think that's like an important detail is the authenticity, right?
Yeah.
So like when you're hiring creators, when you're, you know, or creating on your own, this is why it's important to have people of color in those kind of positions, because like anything just as simple as the hair, the detail regarding that, like I wouldn't know that, but you would. And see, so there's that, you have to like sort of surround yourself with people who like know the details. And I think hair is actually like a big thing. Like you really don't get like black hair right in video games, from what I understand.
Yes.
Woo, you're so right about that.
Not, yeah.
Or comic books. Like, oh, let's just make Misty's night hair, like her fro's just gonna go down into these straight tendrils, and then when it dries up, it puffs again. Like, no,
Yeah.
hell no, that's not how this works. Like,
Exactly. Like you have to have like at least consult somebody before you go. It's just
like, and I mean, like I said, for me personally, I speak from just a standpoint of, I mean, I just did my hair this morning, and the products that I use, what I have to do to get it looking a particular way. And our hair can change. Our hair can look one way one day and look different the next. If whether we're braiding it up, corn rolling it, or, just putting it in a different style, whether we add to it. And I love when I put in hair, and then people are like, oh, did you cut your hair? And I'm like, you know what? Stop. And I say people, but you know what I'm talking about. And I'm like, no, I didn't cut my damn hair. Like, just say my hair looks nice. Like, do you like it? Does it bother you? You really had to go out of your way to like comment on something? Like, just leave me alone. But yeah, that is very important, is just how they look, because it is that representation and that lack of representation that you see throughout. And I'm irked, because I know that when you have these anime-esque looking characters, obviously because they're in Japan, they have these Japanese names, so they're Japanese, but you're going to hire a white person to voice these characters. Yeah, I said it like that. And
no, preach. Right.
So I mean, I'm just kind of like, yeah. So recently when I did audition for some things, and I'm like, I don't think you guys are actually looking. You're not looking. You're just hoping and praying that out of these, however many non-women of color auditioned, you're either going to go for the fetishism of, oh, well, she's Asian and she sounds cute, so that's cool, we get her. And then, well, all of these white girls can sound just like that, because anime voice actors nowadays, what is it, like the usual 12 that Funimation does, there's no range at that point, because you don't have the different inflections and styles, because I'm like, oh my god, it's you again. You're in like the same last.
Yeah.
It's annoying.
It's Troy Baker doing them all.
Oh my god, yes, that and Matthew Mercer.
Yeah. In free voiceover, it's probably a little bit different, because a lot of times you don't know who you're casting, and you never do. But in AAA, it's a lot different, because you have the resources, you have access to this very large applicant pool and people from all walks of life. And so I really don't understand where that happens. Like you get something like in Far Cry 4 with Troy Baker. I would totally understand if it was a mod, because he really did do a good job, but AAA,
Oh man. Well, if you want to go there, we can just say, everyone knows it's coming up. Laura Bailey and Uncharted 4. But we designed the character after we picked the voice actors. But I'm like, okay, but you knew. But at some point you knew that this black character that you have in this game is going to be voiced by somebody who's not black. So, I mean, and I know people might come at me if they look at some of my previous work. They'll be like, oh, well, this character you did wasn't. I was like, see, there's a difference. Because how many times do you see just specifically say a black woman doing a voice that is not representative of herself? And aside from that, I would say forgot the DC animations, and I upset because I totally forgot which one it was, but a black woman voiced Wonder Woman, and I could tell because there's that bass in that voice, and there was a sass. I was like, she black, and it's you just know. And I'm not just saying, oh, well, all black women sound like that, but no, but there is something that everyone can bring to the table. So I'm just saying, be open to the idea. That is all I am saying. I'm like, what is it? What's wrong? Is it the fact that you didn't like the way I auditioned? Is there something wrong with my audition? Because I mean, I've done all these other projects. They seem fine. And I mean, is it my sound quality? Are you hearing the static in my audio, the white noise, the hiss, the click? I mean, I got a fan going on right now. Do you hear that? I'm just saying, like, at least give me some pointers or something.
No, it goes back to like what we talked about with the hair. So let's say this character in Uncharted, the hair is wrong. Is Laura Bailey gonna know that?
So I've read the articles.
Mm-hmm.
She did not know. There's a difference. There are, whether you're union, non-union, there's a portion of the development of the project that you're not going to be
right. But I'm talking about more of just like being
on.
able to provide quality feedback on the character. So if the character's hair is wrong, like they get black hair wrong again.
Yeah.
If it was a black actor, she's going to recognize that. She's going to tell the developers, okay, this needs to be fixed. That needs to be fixed. But Laura Bailey is not. It's not Laura Bailey's fault. She's a great actress. She's an amazing person. She's like wonderful. But she's not going to know. She's going to have these blind spots. I mean, like all people are going to have blind spots. And so when you cast black actors to do black roles, what you're doing is basically covering those blind spots. So not only is the person talented and amazing and deserves the role on their own merit, but they also bring the personal experience and the feedback for the character that you wouldn't otherwise get. And that's why I think it's important to cast people.
No, and I do agree. Yeah, because there's that real world experience that we can use to put into the character as far as how the reaction would sound. And when you don't have that experience, that real world experience, there is that disconnect. So no, I totally agree with you. And with that being said, this is exactly why my husband is doing this, making these characters. What my husband and I are just going for is just be inclusive. Being inclusive doesn't mean that you have to get stereotypical characters. You can just have them there because they did a great job. And like I said, this is something I really want to go off on, but I know I have I'm cool with some people who are casting directors of these particular groups and these projects. And so I don't want to make it seem like I'm kind of like throwing shade at them, but at this point I'm almost like I don't want to be silent, but it's also I'm trying to keep my stress levels down because I know if I start an argument I have to keep up with it.
Yeah.
And it's not that I won't have the momentum, but I also don't want to waste my time and doing the argument unless I know, no, this is something I just really have to stay on top of. But in doing so, I'm still going to audition. I am still going to make sure these projects get out and say, hey, look, I, as a person of color, I can do all these things. I can sound like these characters. And I'm not going to sound, and let me just put this out here. If you're going to do a casting call and you want someone to sound Japanese accent, stop it. Chinese accent, stop it. If you want to go more East Asian accent, sure. But why? Why don't you just say, we just want an East Asian voice actor? That just makes more sense. Because I'm going to look at that roster. I'm going to save. This is what I do. I save the casting call, and then I look who they hire. And I'm like, really? Really? Because this person looks real white to me. Like, no, stop playing. And I think there was one guy who was happened to be East Asian as well. And I was just like, okay, well, they got one guy. Okay, I'll give you that. That's it. But everybody else that they hired, and I'm like, I got hired. And then there was someone who had to do a country accent. And I'm like, oh, okay, cool. I'm not perfect. I know that. But I know I nailed it. I totally nailed it. And I'm just like, okay, I'm sure you guys going to go for this overdone country accent. Like, oh, Henry, you going to go out into the farms? Don't forget to take care of the rabbits type of thing, And I'm like, you guys are going to go for that. And I don't think you understand. Have you been down south? I've been to Texas, honey. I've been to Alabama. Not that I really wanted to go to Alabama. I've been to Mississippi. Don't want to go there either. And I've been to Georgia. I've been to North Carolina. And I'm just trying to figure out what are you guys talking about in regards to, now it just came out. So what are you guys talking about in regards to, you want someone with a country accent or you want someone with a Southern accent? And you're going to get someone who's going to sound very exaggerated, but it's not going to come off naturally. And to me, I'm just like, don't you want somebody to come off sounding like they really from the area? I mean, are they even going to say y'all? Do you know how to say y'all? And that's something for me. I'm like, so how am I not getting hired for this? Yeah. But that is exactly why I am so happy I was able to do Dot, because I really felt I just felt so comfortable doing her, this just like playing that voice
Mm-hmm.
because I'm like, no, this is cool. I really feel like I can relate to her. Not on the crazy part, but
I need to ask Chibuzo if you have any bodies buried in the back.
I don't, I think the government's listening. No, I'm joking. I'm joking. I'm joking. I'm joking.
Does Marion have a phone outside her house that rings, Part of a spirit, a dead spirit maybe. Crying for help.
Just laughing because it's true. Oh my
Girl, don't get me in trouble. Man.
Do I need to be calling the FBI after I hang up on?
No, please don't. We're good. We're good.
Okay. Snitches get stitches, right?
You already know.
So, stepping away from that, what do you think about how much information you should give a casting director? How do you navigate that? Because I know, for instance, I've cast somebody and he didn't have a picture. His name was Uranus, which is Hispanic for spider. I kind of assumed he was Hispanic, but it turns out he's a white guy from Georgia. But yeah, it didn't matter because the role was for a lizard. But yeah, I guess what I'm saying, in the free voiceover community, we don't know what most of the actors look like. So I'm sure this podcast is going to make me look like a huge hypocrite as far as my casting choices. But from the actor's side, given that there's all these biases, how much of yourself do you think you need to put out there? Because on the one hand, you want to get roles that are characters of color, but at the same time, you also don't want to have that as a strike against you if you're auditioning for a role that isn't a character of color.
Well, if you go on Casting Call Club, you will see that my icon is actually kind of the circle picture of what's on my voice acting card. And my husband also designed that as well. And it shows kind of half of the left side of my face. And so you just see a black girl and purple eyes, ombre purple hair with headphones on. At first, I was a little worried, but then I'm like, why?
Right.
Why should I? First off, this is a beautiful drawing. I love the colors my husband used. Everyone who ever sees my business cards, they're like, oh my God, these are awesome. And I'm like, yeah, husband designed them. And I should be proud because I shouldn't have to feel like, oh no, they're going to look at it. And I'm like, you know what? No.
Yeah.
Freaking look at it. That's what I put it there for. And this is a representative of me. I don't have my ombre hair in right now, but I do have my headphones. And yes, I'm a beautiful black woman. So you going to look at this picture and you're going to listen to this audition. And you're going to not put two and two together and be like, well, I really don't want anyone with this icon playing this role. No, screw you. Listen to the audition. Do you like it? Do you not like it? And if you don't like it, why? That is all I am asking.
Do some self-reflecting.
Sure, right? Stand in the mirror for a minute and be like, it's not even about, am I a good person? You can think however you want about yourself in regards to being good or bad, but it's still your actions and what is the driving force for you coming to a particular conclusion. So on Casting Call, how I look for auditions, and I know it's $8 a month if you want to do the gold standard profile thing. So it's like, oh, you'll get notifications. And I'm like, well, I don't really want to have to get all these notifications. I don't mind looking. I like looking. So, I always go for paid. That's just how I do.
Yeah.
And I, paid female. I don't do union status. I'm not union. I don't pay into that. If you're paying into union, there's a ton of other places you can also go to as well. But yeah, I just clicked on it right now. I'm actually on it now. So I just went to paid female, non-fan. I don't do fan projects. Womp. And then, just kind of go from there. And I look through and just list, I just read the characters I'm looking for. I know, also understand your range. As a voice actor, please know your range. Please don't play yourself. If you can't do a high-pitched voice, stop. If you can't do a low pitched voice, stop it. If this accent is not of you, whether it's natural, if it's not natural or you're trying to practice it, don't do it. Like, please, because you just want to come off natural. If you cannot do it naturally, in a sense of, well, I practice this accent and I'm and you lose it, kind of like Halle Berry in her first 5 minutes as Storm. If that accent drops and never comes back, stop. Don't do it. Just because you want to be consistent and you want to be consistently good. You want to know what are your strengths and your weaknesses. So with that, I mean, really read through the description and don't be afraid to contact the project manager. I mean, you are allowed to do that in a casting call, which is really nice. I don't know if they have a feature where you cannot contact them, but I would say, hey, you know what? You can even have a disclaimer in the comment section after your audition and say, I decided to go from this. If this is something else you want to look for, and a good portion of the project managers are really awesome. They respond back and be like, I really like this, but could you try this?
Yeah.
And I actually had that happen with another project that I'm on right now. And I was like, oh, that's cool. That's cool. So, but one thing, and an example, I just want to get into this quickly. I am doing a narration for Elizabeth Keckley. And you're probably like, who is that? So not just because it's Black History Month, it is American history. Because she was American. Former slave. She came up in the ranks as a seamstress and or a modiste for Mary Todd Lincoln. And, she just went through a lot of things. And I'm doing my best to get into this old, not really old, because I'm playing like a 40-year-old, so I don't want to be rude and say old. I mean, I'm kind of close.
Hey, no.
But yeah, so just get into the Southern tone and just kind of talk about how, she went through all these things, and I just cannot believe that they sold that boy, and it was just ridiculous what they did to him. But I stood my ground, and I just said, if you gonna whip me, then you better kill me, because I'm gonna stand my ground. So it's like little things like that I just get into. But anywho, I like the fact
that was brilliant. So like any kind of thing that sort of educates people on just the history of America, and because that is like one of the most important things that we need to teach people, is just the institutional racism that starts all the way back to slavery, and it's just everywhere in society. And so like, people talk about like, oh, racism over. It's not. There's the concept of privilege that people need to understand and sort of just educating yourself. And that's why Black History Month is important. It's kind of annoying that it's the shortest month of the year. I mean, could you not have given like a 30-day month maybe?
Yeah, well, Hispanics got the middle of a month actually, and I should know that one as well. But yeah, but I say it like this. It's Black History 365. I know I need to bring that hashtag back. I was doing it for a little bit, but it is every day. Every day,
yes,
everyone is doing something amazing, and they're doing something great. And the foundations that we have now with the social programs, a lot of it gets how can I say, it just disappears over time, and that's really sad. And I just want everyone to not just talk about it, but be about it. And you too can make history. I mean, even now, and I really gotta go on this. Even now, we have. I'm just getting so hyped about Black Panther. I had to put this out there.
Oh yes. And you need to come on next week to talk about Black Panther with us.
We have to. But it's just a ton of things going on. You have a lot of either just women or women of color or people of color becoming these who are directors and writers and producers. And you are seeing that representation. I mean, I literally have now to put money away so I can go to the movies almost every other week, because I'm like, no, they say that we're not going to go to these movies and we're not going to support ourselves. We are going to go out there because you know what? That person on that poster looks like me. That person on the poster looks like you. Chibuzo, I know you feel in the same way. And it's just... Actually, no, you can talk about it too, Chippy, because I don't want to talk over you.
And it needs to continue, because we had this. Yes. I mean, you guys aren't old enough to remember, but in the 90s we had Boys in the Hood, we had Do the Right Thing, we had Menace to Society, and all like Black directors, and we had this sort of wave that, okay, this is going to bring about change, we're going to get more representation, and then it just kind of stopped. And that is what we cannot have this time around.
No, oh no, darling. No, we are not. And I proudly say, I said, my name is Marion Natasha Toro. Yeah, that's my full handle. But don't worry, you only see me as Marion Toro because Natasha, that's a little long. And I just want to represent that. And as I'm saying it, no, I am not fronting as an Afro-Latina. Just also putting that out there. I married into the Toro name. But I also just want to show, hey, look, you know, this is what we're doing, like showing this. And when you look and see that these amazing works can come from those you're overlooking, and for what reason? Because we're not your quote unquote standard. What is that? Once again, you need to be inclusive, and it needs to just be a wonderful array of people from all walks of life. So
can we get some Asian men in there too?
Oh yes.
Hello. Yes. No. Listen. Like it just doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense to me because clearly, you know, when you look at the records in terms of movies that have come out, ones that have been whitewashed, like there's such a backlash with that. And then over a couple of years, you see like movies of people with color telling their stories and things like that actually selling out in the movie theaters. But you think that Hollywood would incorporate that or actually take that into account. And it makes you think that there is a bigger conspiracy or there's a bigger story behind it, because it doesn't make sense to me. If you're trying to make money, why would you ignore the numbers? You understand?
Well, that's the thing. Even if the movie fails, that's no excuse to stop trying. Like movies with white stars are allowed to fail. Like even if it fails, it has a minority lead. If it fails, like so what?
Exactly.
Movies with a primarily white cast fail all the time.
Exactly.
You know, we should be able to have a movie with a person of color as the lead, and if it fails, then just make another one. Just like maybe it's the writing that's bad. You know, it's just they can't just give up if one movie fails.
Exactly.
When other movies have been failing all the time.
But it kind of validates their
thinking,
They're thinking that, oh, you see, I knew that it wouldn't succeed. You understand? I knew that it couldn't do it. You understand? So.
And then, yet, how did Ghost in the Shell do?
Oh, let's not talk about that. That's RP. I can't even talk. I cannot talk about that. We'll be here all day.
Yeah, we've already gone over an hour. I'm sure we pissed off like half the people. So, but it's okay because you just got to educate. Yeah. So, like I said, we all have blind spots. I consider myself progressive liberal, but I have blind spots too. I make mistakes all the time. And it's just important to just try and expose yourself to other points of view and just educate yourself and just not take it personal. If you make a mistake, people make mistakes, but just try to learn from it. And I think that's important. So hopefully people learn something from this podcast. I hope so too. I know I did. I learned about vanilla.
Sorry if I know I would go off on tangents. That's what I was like. Oh.
No, you went on a couple of epic rants that will just go down in history. No. So once again, thank you, Marion Toro, the amazing Marion Toro, and the amazing Chibuzo.
Oh, thank you very much. It's been a pleasure.
Who spent an hour with me just talking about a few things. And go ahead and download the demo for Emergency Monster Team. It's great. It's amazing mystery. It's just only going to get better. So anything else you guys want to add before we end this podcast?
Oh, for those who are looking for my music, it's kind of in construction right now. However, I do have some old links up on SoundCloud.
Yes, send me all your links and I'll put it in the description. Of course. So you'll have Chibuzo's links. Just hit the description and you'll see those as well. So
I appreciate this. Thank you so much.
Send them all. No problem. All right. It was great talking to you both, and I hope we can have you on for Black Panther. If not, then it's okay. But...
Actually, we're gonna go see it. My husband and I on the 18th, and we got 10:15 showing. And I'm hoping to have my outfit ready by then. So pray all the costume gods that Danny gets it done in time.
Okay. Awesome. Send pictures.
Yes.
We'll put those in the description too.
On the 16th, I'm going to the iPic Theater because you have to do it big. I want my dinner, I want my drink, and I want my reclining seats. So.
Sorry, cuz.
Awesome. All right, so that's it for this episode of Speaking of Voice Acting. I want to thank my guests again, Marion Toro and Chibuzo, for coming on, talking about voice acting, social justice stuff, just everything. I learned a lot. Next week, we're going to have Corey Hall, I believe. I'm not entirely sure. I've got a huge backlog of these interviews that I've already done, and I'm just not sure what order, I'm going to be able to edit them all. But if you have anyone you would like to hear interviewed, let me know in the comments or just anywhere, Discord, shoot me an email. I've got a few others that I'd like to get on the docket. Space Fiddle, who voiced Tareen for the recent Transformation Quest for Interesting NPCs. Barry Coleman, who voiced Slasher, who was a pretty major companion for the Fallout 3 mods. And Ginger Roll, who did a lot of voices for Fallout 4, did a couple of new settlers for me recently. And there's just so many actors, and I just want to have them all on, talk about their own individual experiences, because I think every time we talk to somebody, we learn something new, and that's pretty cool. So stay tuned next week.